Here are Grandpa's 50 survival hacks in a wild that might save your life one day. Avoid flat needles when making pine tea. Grandpa always warned that not every pine-like tree is safe, and knowing the difference could save your life. When making pine needle tea in the wild, only use trees with long, round needles that grow in bundles. Avoid trees with flat or single needles, as some can be toxic. Strip a small handful, rinse them, and steep in hot water. This tea provides vitamin C and warmth. One wrong needle choice can turn help into harm. Use pine pitch to bind tools or arrowheads. Did you know that pine trees produce a natural glue strong enough to hold tools together? Pine pitch becomes sticky when warmed and hardens as it cools. Collect hardened pitch from tree bark, melt it near a fire, then mix in crushed charcoal or ash to strengthen it. Apply the mixture to secure arrowheads, knife blades, or cracked handles. Once cooled, it forms a durable bond that can last through heavy use. Collect firewood from dead standing trees. Dead standing trees are one of the best firewood sources in the wild. Unlike wood on the ground, they stay dry because air circulates around them. Look for trees without leaves or needles that still stand upright. Snap smaller branches by hand or break them over rocks. This wood lights easier, burns hotter, and produces less smoke, making fires faster and safer to maintain. Apply balsam fir sap to small cuts. Grandpa taught that the forest provides its own medicine if you know where to look. Balsam fir sap has natural antiseptic properties. Collect a small amount of sticky sap from blisters on the bark and apply it directly to minor cuts or scrapes. It seals the wound and helps prevent infection. Use only on clean wounds and avoid deep injuries that need proper care. Build shelters with steep roofs. A steep roof can mean the difference between staying dry and getting dangerously cold. When building a shelter, angle the roof sharply so rain, snow, and debris slide off instead of soaking in. Use long branches or poles for the frame, then layer bark, leaves, or pine boughs from bottom to top. A steep design sheds weather fast and holds warmth better overnight. Scrape fatwood into fine shavings. Fatwood is one of the most reliable fire starters found in the wild. Scrape it into fine shavings using a knife, stone, or metal edge until fluffy curls form. The resin-rich wood ignites easily, even when damp. Place the shavings beneath small twigs and spark them first. A little fat wood burns hot and long, giving you dependable flame when conditions are cold, wet, or desperate, and survival truly matters. Twist cedar bark into cordage. Cedar bark can be transformed into strong cordage using simple hand techniques. Peel long strips from dead cedar trees and separate the inner fibers carefully. Take 2 strands, twist each individually, then wrap them together in opposite directions. This creates tension and strength. The finished cord can tie shelters, lash tools, secure gear, or replace rope when modern materials are unavailable in harsh wilderness survival situations where nothing else exists. Dry pine cones to release edible seeds. Pine cones hide edible seeds that can provide energy in survival situations. Collect closed cones from pine trees and place them near a fire or in direct sunlight. As they dry, the cones open naturally and release their seeds. Remove the thin shells before eating. Though small, these seeds offer fats and calories that help maintain strength when food options are limited during extended cold weather emergencies, outdoors alone, hungry. Use cedar boughs for ground insulation. Cedar boughs make excellent ground insulation when sleeping outdoors. Cut fresh or dead boughs and lay them thickly between your body and the earth. Stack them densely to trap air and block moisture. Cedar naturally repels insects and resists rot. This insulation reduces heat loss overnight, improves sleep quality, and can prevent hypothermia in cold, wet environments where exposure drains energy quickly and survival depends on warmth, retention alone overnight. Identify fatwood by its golden core. Fatwood is easy to identify once you know what to look for. Split dead pine stumps or fallen branches and examine the core closely. A golden or amber-colored center indicates heavy resin content. The wood smells strongly of pine and feels heavier than normal. This resin-rich fuel burns hot and long, making it invaluable for fire starting during emergencies when dry tinder is scarce or impossible to find. Use pine root cordage for traps and bindings. Use pine root cordage for traps and bindings. Pine tree roots are tough, flexible, and naturally fibrous. Dig shallow roots near the surface, strip off bark, and split them lengthwise. Twist the fibers together to form strong line. This cordage works for snares, lashings, and shelter ties. It tightens under load, resists rot, and provides reliable strength when manufactured rope is unavailable during long wilderness survival situations requiring secure bindings. Boil filtered water before drinking. Boil filtered water before drinking to avoid serious illness in the wild. Grandpa always said, clear water can still kill you. After filtering water through cloth, sand, or charcoal, bring it to a rolling boil for at least 1 full minute. Boiling kills bacteria, parasites, and viruses that cause dehydration, infection, and weakness. Let it cool before drinking. This habit prevents sickness when medical help is unavailable during wilderness survival. Add moss for shelter insulation. Add moss to shelters for natural insulation and moisture control. Gather dry moss from shaded rocks or trees, avoiding soaked ground. Pack it between shelter walls, roof layers, and bedding. Moss traps air, blocks wind, and absorbs condensation. This reduces heat loss and keeps sleeping areas warmer overnight. Replace damp moss regularly to maintain effectiveness. In cold climates, moss insulation can improve comfort, energy, and survival chances when resources are scarce. Ignite fatwood shavings with sparks. Ignite fatwood shavings with sparks when matches fail. Shave resin-rich fatwood into thin curls using a knife or sharp stone. Place the shavings beneath dry twigs and strike sparks from ferro rod or flint. The resin catches quickly, producing strong flame even in damp conditions. Start small and build gradually. Fatwood allows fire without flame, fuel, or dry tinder, making it essential for survival in wet, cold, or windy environments. Burn post bases to slow rot. Burn post bases to slow rot and extend structure life. When setting wooden posts for shelters, racks, or traps, lightly chore the portion that contacts soil. Hold it over coals until the surface blackens. Charring seals pores, drives out moisture, and discourages insects and fungi. Allow the wood to cool before placement. This technique strengthens posts, reduces decay, and improves durability when building long-term wilderness structures with limited tools available. Use dried grass or reeds for bedding. Dried grass or reeds make effective bedding when sleeping outdoors. Gather tall grasses or reeds that are fully dry and free of mold. Lay them thickly between your body and the ground, stacking enough to create loft. The trapped air provides insulation and reduces heat loss overnight. Replace damp material often. Proper natural bedding improves sleep, conserves energy, and lowers hypothermia risks when blankets or pads are unavailable in cold wilderness conditions. Eat only positively identified wild plants. Eating unknown plants is one of the fastest ways to get sick or injured in the wild. Only consume plants you can positively identify with absolute certainty. Use multiple identifiers such as leaf shape, growth pattern, smell, and season. If there is any doubt, do not eat it. Many poisonous plants resemble edible ones. Caution preserves strength, prevents poisoning, and keeps you functional when survival depends on clear thinking. Expose pine roots with a stick. Pine roots are useful for cordage, but digging with hands wastes energy. Use a sturdy stick to gently pry soil away near the base of pine trees. Follow roots outward where they run shallow. Exposing them carefully prevents breakage and preserves length. Pine roots are flexible, strong, and rot-resistant. Harvesting them efficiently saves effort and provides valuable binding material for traps, tools, and shelter construction. Avoid mussels during warm months. Did you know that mussels can become dangerous in warm weather even if they look fresh? During warm months, harmful toxins and bacteria build up in shellfish due to algae blooms. Eating contaminated mussels can cause severe poisoning, paralysis, or death. Cold months reduce this risk significantly. In survival situations, avoid mussels unless conditions are cold and you are experienced. This knowledge prevents illness when food safety is critical. Use resin-rich pine branches for early fire stages. Resin-rich pine branches ignite faster than normal wood and help establish early fire stages. Look for branches that smell strongly of pine and feel heavier than dry wood. Break them into small pieces and place them above tinder. The resin burns hot and resists moisture. Using these branches helps fire catch quicker, saving energy and time when starting a fire under poor weather or damp conditions. Mix charcoal into pine pitch. Mixing charcoal into pine pitch strengthens natural glue for survival repairs. Collect hardened pine pitch and gently heat it until liquid. Crush charcoal from a fire into fine powder. Stir small amounts into the melted pitch until thick and sticky. The charcoal adds structure, reduces brittleness, and improves grip. Use this reinforced pitch to bind tools, seal cracks, or repair gear where modern adhesives are unavailable in harsh outdoor emergencies. Locate King Alfred's cake fungus on ash trees. King Alfred's cake fungus is a valuable fire starter found in forests. Look for dark, cracked, charcoal-like growths attached to ash tree trunks or dead limbs. The fungus feels hard and woody when dry. Break it open to expose the inner material. Once dried, it catches sparks easily and smolders slowly, making it ideal for carrying embers or starting fires in damp survival conditions during long, cold nights outdoors. Use pine root cordage safely near fire. Pine root cordage is strong, but it can fail near heat if ignored. When using root cordage around fires, keep bindings elevated and away from direct flame. Heat dries fibers quickly, making them brittle. Check cords, often for cracking or smoke. If needed, wrap roots in damp bark or soil briefly. Safe placement preserves cordage strength and prevents sudden failure during critical survival tasks where lives depend on it most. Steam limpets briefly and remove gut sacs. Steaming limpets briefly makes them safer to eat in survival situations. Place limpets in a pot with a small amount of water and steam for a few minutes until they loosen. Remove them from shells and carefully cut away the dark gut sac. Discard it before eating. This reduces toxins and bitterness, improving safety and taste when coastal food options are limited during emergencies along rocky shores and cold seasons. Heat pine sap to make pitch glue. Heating pine sap transforms sticky resin into durable pitch glue. Collect sap from pine blisters or hardened drips. Gently heat it in a metal container near coals, never over direct flame. As it liquefies, stir slowly and remove debris. The melted pitch can be applied warm to bind tools, seal seams, or waterproof materials, hardening as it cools for reliable wilderness repairs in cold, wet survival conditions during long emergencies. Gather suspended dead branches for dry kindling. Dead branches suspended off the ground make excellent dry kindling in the wild. Look for broken limbs caught in other trees or lodged high in brush. Because air circulates around them, they stay dry even after rain. Snap small pieces by hand or break them over rocks. This wood ignites faster, burns hotter, and saves precious energy when fire is urgently needed during cold nights and emergencies far from shelter. Use amadou fungus as fire tinder. Amadou fungus is a classic fire tinder used for centuries. It grows on hardwood trees and feels soft and fibrous inside when processed. Slice thin pieces and dry them completely. When struck by sparks, amadou catches easily and smolders slowly. This makes it perfect for carrying embers, starting fires in damp weather, and preserving ignition sources when conditions are harsh during long, cold wilderness survival situations without modern tools available. Braid pine roots to extend length. Braid pine roots to extend their length and strength for survival tasks. Harvest several long roots, clean off bark, and soak briefly if dry. Twist individual roots first, then braid them together tightly. Braiding distributes load and reduces snapping. The finished cordage works for traps, shelter lashings, and hauling, giving you longer usable line when materials are limited in forests, mountains, or remote terrain during extended wilderness survival emergencies only. Use pine root cordage to secure food while cooking. Pine root cordage can secure food safely while cooking over a fire. Use it to tie meat, fish, or containers above flames or near coals. Keep bindings away from direct heat to prevent charring. Adjust height carefully and monitor often. This method frees hands, improves control, and reduces food loss when cooking in rough conditions without metal hooks or modern cooking equipment during survival meals in wilderness camps alone outdoors. Add beeswax to soften brittle pitch. Adding beeswax to pine pitch improves flexibility and durability. Heat pine pitch gently until liquid, then mix small amounts of beeswax. Stir until smooth and uniform. Beeswax reduces brittleness and cracking once cooled. The improved pitch works better for bindings, waterproofing, and repairs. This adjustment makes natural glue more reliable in changing temperatures and long-term use during repeated survival repairs in the field under stress and cold conditions outdoors. Build raised beds with dry wood and stakes. Raised beds keep sleepers dry, warmer, and safer from insects. Build them using dry logs laid parallel, then drive sturdy stakes at the corners to lock them in place. Fill gaps with smaller branches and debris, then cover with grasses or boughs. Elevation improves drainage, blocks ground cold, and reduces moisture loss overnight, making rest more effective during wilderness stays when energy conservation matters most. Apply balsam fir sap on minor burns. Balsam fir sap can soothe minor burns when used carefully in the wild. Clean the burn with cool water first, then apply a thin layer of fresh sap to seal the skin. According to Grandpa, the sap cools pain and protects exposed tissue. Use only on small burns, never blisters. This natural resin helps prevent infection while the injury heals slowly in harsh survival conditions. Use cedar bark for shelter roofing. Cedar bark makes excellent shelter roofing because it sheds water and resists rot. Peel large sheets from dead cedar trees whenever possible. Layer the bark starting at the bottom and overlap upward like shingles. This directs rain away from seams. Cedar also repels insects and dries quickly, helping shelters stay warmer and lighter during prolonged wet weather outdoors without modern materials or tools available nearby. Hold wood with a stick when chopping with an axe. Chopping wood is dangerous when hands get too close to the blade. Hold small pieces of wood steady using a sturdy stick instead of your fingers. This keeps hands safely away from the axe edge. If the axe glances or slips, the stick absorbs the impact. This simple habit prevents severe injuries during firewood preparation in survival situations, especially when fatigue reduces focus and balance. Filter water through layered materials. Filtering water removes debris before boiling or drinking in emergencies. Layer materials such as cloth, cinders, charcoal, and small stones inside a container. Pour water slowly through the layers to trap sediment and insects. This process improves clarity and taste, but does not kill microbes. Always boil filtered water afterward to ensure safety during wilderness survival, especially when illness risk is high and help distant. Eat pine seeds for fats and nutrients. Pine seeds provide valuable fats and nutrients when food is scarce. Collect mature cones and dry them near a fire or in the sun until they open. Remove the seeds and peel away the thin shell. These seeds contain oils that supply energy and help maintain body heat. Though small, they add calories and nutrients that support strength during long wilderness survival periods. Find horse's hoof fungus on beech trees. Horse's hoof fungus grows on hardwoods, especially beech trees, and is useful for fire making. Look for hard, gray-brown, hoof-shaped growths attached to trunks. When dried, the inner material can catch sparks and smolder. This fungus was traditionally used to carry embers and start fires, making it valuable when matches are gone and conditions are damp. Avoid pine needle tea during pregnancy. Pine needle tea can be helpful, but caution is critical. While rich in vitamin C, some pine needles contain compounds that may cause complications. Grandpa advised avoiding pine needle tea during pregnancy, especially in the early stages. When survival depends on health, it is safer to skip this tea entirely. Knowing when not to use a resource is just as important as knowing when to rely on it. Add dried droppings to strengthen pitch. Dried animal droppings can strengthen pine pitch when used carefully. Crush fully dried droppings into fine powder and mix small amounts into melted pitch. The fibrous material adds structure and reduces cracking as the pitch cools. This creates a tougher binding material for repairs, tool making, and sealing jobs when charcoal or ash is unavailable in the wild. Split fatwood into strong kindling. Fatwood makes excellent kindling when split properly. Use a knife or wedge to split it into thin, dense sticks rather than shavings. These pieces burn longer and hotter, helping ignite larger wood. Because fatwood is resin-rich, even small sticks resist moisture and provide reliable flame. Strong fatwood kindling saves time and energy when starting fires in difficult weather. Brew pine needle tea with boiled water. Pine needle tea can provide warmth and vitamin C when prepared correctly. Gather long, round needles from safe pine species only. Rinse them and chop lightly to release oils. Always use boiled water poured over the needles, not raw water. Let it steep briefly, then strain. Boiling the water first reduces risk and makes the tea safer in cold survival conditions. Build shelters from forest debris. Forest debris can become a life-saving shelter when weather turns dangerous. Use fallen branches, bark, leaves, and needles to form a frame against a log or slope. Stack materials thickly to block wind and rain. Smaller debris fills gaps and traps air. A well-packed debris shelter holds heat, sheds moisture, and requires no tools when speed matters most. Make cordage from pine roots. Pine roots provide strong, natural cordage for survival tasks. Expose shallow roots with a stick and pull them free carefully. Strip off bark, then twist the fibers together while damp. Pine root cordage tightens under load and resists rot. It works well for traps, lashings, shelter frames, and carrying gear when rope is unavailable in the wild. Ignite balsam fir sap blisters instantly. Balsam fir sap blisters ignite easily and help start fires fast. Locate clear resin bubbles on fir bark and puncture them carefully. The sticky sap catches flame quickly when touched by a spark or ember. Add small twigs immediately to build flame. This natural accelerant works even in damp conditions and saves precious energy when fire is urgent. Confirm fatwood by its resin smell. Fatwood can be confirmed by smell before it is even burned. Split a suspected piece and inhale near the fresh surface. True fatwood releases a strong, sharp pine resin scent. It also feels heavier than normal wood. This smell test prevents wasted effort and ensures you collect reliable fire-starting material when conditions are wet or cold. Split pine roots lengthwise. Pine roots are strongest when prepared correctly. After exposing a long root, split it lengthwise using a knife edge or sharp stone. This creates flexible strands that bend without snapping. Remove the outer bark and twist the inner fibers while damp. Split roots make better cordage because they distribute tension evenly, allowing longer, stronger bindings for traps, shelter frames, and repairs when modern rope is unavailable in wilderness survival situations. Use King Alfred's cake as a coal extender. Did you know that King Alfred's cake fungus was once carried by travelers to preserve fire? This hard charcoal-like fungus can catch a spark and smolder for hours. Once lit, place it near coals or embers. It extends heat and preserves ignition longer than wood alone. This makes it ideal for maintaining fire overnight or transporting embers between camps in damp or windy conditions. Use thick debris roofing to prevent leaks. A shelter fails quickly if water gets inside. Build roofs thick using layered leaves, bark, needles, and forest debris. Start from the bottom and overlap upward so water sheds naturally. Pack material densely to block wind and dripping. Thick debris roofing traps air, improves insulation, and prevents leaks during rain or snow, keeping body heat protected when exposure becomes dangerous. Harvest fatwood from dead pine trees. Grandpa always said the best firewood hides in dead pine. Harvest fatwood by splitting old stumps, fallen trunks, or dead standing pines. Look for dense, amber-colored wood near the base or knots. This resin-rich wood burns hot and lights easily. Collecting it from dead trees avoids harming live ones and provides reliable fire-starting material when everything else is wet. For more contents like this, click here to subscribe.